You can see a math meme on the screen. How many of you got it? Did you understand what it means?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anyone who didn't get it? Of course, I'm sure there would be a lot of people who didn't understand it. So there's no fun if you don't get the, yeah. Um, mm, Couple of you have got it, and yeah, you've understood what it means, but a lot of you don't. I'm not sure how many of you have got the logic. Would anybody would like to explain what that means?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can
Okay.
I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I is equivalent to like it's not real number, like root upon -2, root upon -3.
Yeah, very good.
Chepnad.
Who's this?
Asim.
Asim. Yeah, Asim, very good. If you remember in our previous classes, I think in one of the classes,
Yeah,
I
Ashwin
did
asked that out.
exactly. Yes, Asim, continue.
And that I is asking pi to get rational, but
Yeah,
pi is asking I, first of all, you get real.
yeah, yes. Anyone else who can explain it in a better way?
Okay, okay.
Can I
Thank you,
explain?
Asim. Thank you. Yes, go ahead, one by one. I think you can just give in your names. I'm using my phone, so yeah, just
Ma'am, it's Amog, ma'am.
yes, Amok, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so pi is actually an irrational number,
Mhm.
and I, like Asim said, is like imaginary roots of any number. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so I is imaginary. So I is telling pi get real, so get rational. So because I is irrational, so telling it to become rational, but pi is telling I to get real because it's not a real number.
It's not a real number. Yes, very good. Yeah. Did you all get the logic, or should I explain, or can somebody else explain?
I is basically an imaginary number.
Yeah.
So when I ask pi to get rational, pi is like, first of all, you get real.
Yeah. Yes. So I think I've got a couple of answers for people who've still not understood. All of us are very familiar with that symbol pi. Okay. So we know that pi is an approximation of 22 by 7. We know that pi is an irrational number. Yeah. So a value of pi starts from 3.14 and it just goes on. Pi is an example of non-terminating, non-repeating decimal expansion, and hence pi is an irrational number. Okay, now because pi is irrational, so this symbol I is telling pi to be rational. Yeah, so be rational. That's the joke behind it. Yeah. So when I tells pi to be rational, pi gives him back saying that you first get real. Yeah. So why does pi say to I to be real? That's because I is not a real number. Yeah. So we had discussed this in one of the classes. Of course, it's not in your syllabus right now, but you should know that there exists a symbol I, which is actually for complex numbers or imaginary numbers. So there are numbers beyond real numbers. Okay, so there are numbers which are not rational. There are numbers which are not irrational. So the numbers which are not rational, not irrational, they are not real. And such numbers form complex numbers. Okay, so complex numbers are denoted by the symbol I. An example, like somebody just pointed out, if you take a negative number under the root, okay, so if I have root of -2 or root of -3, yeah, so under the root, if you have a negative value, then that is an example of a complex number. So it's a simple conversation between two symbols, I and pi. I is a complex number, pi is irrational number. So the conversation is I tells pi that you be rational. Pi in return says you get real first. Yeah, so that is the mean. Anyway, so let's start with the class. I still have a very less strength today. Anyway, let's I think what I'll do first is, of course, today's class would be related to exercise 1.3 and 1.4. I will be doing that method of contradiction that we started in the last class. So we'll have a quick recap of that. If you have any doubts, you can clarify. And then I think we should be comfortably able to finish both the exercises and the chapter itself. Yeah. So that next class I can start with chapter 2, which is polynomials. Before that, like we always do, let's have a quick recap. So I'm going to show some slides, and if you know the answer, of course, these are very pretty easy questions. So, and I'm going to ask a few of you to answer, yeah, and then and then we can continue with the exercise. So no prompting, you can just type in your answers. I'll be more specific to, yeah, I'll put the question to specific people. So this is the first one on the screen. You have to tell what it is. So my question is to Abhinav. Yeah, Abhinav. Abhinav,
Yes,
are you there? Yeah, Abhinav.
Yeah, it's a non-terminating, non-repeating number or an irrational number.
Yes, very good. So first read the statement, Abhinav.
It never ends and it never repeats.
Yes.
It never ends, so it's non-terminating, and it never repeats, so it's non-repeating.
Yeah. So what are such numbers called?
Irrational numbers.
Irrational numbers. Very good, Abhinav. So I hope that's clear to everyone. Yeah. So something that's shown on the screen is actually the definition of irrational numbers. Yeah. A number that never ends, like Abhinav said, a number that never ends is non-terminating. A number which would never repeat is non-repeating. So non-terminating, non-repeating numbers are called irrational numbers. Yeah. Very good, Abhinav. Next, next question. This is the next question. So let me ask Adi. Adi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, Adi. So read the question and can you try to answer it?
Yes, ma'am. Write two examples of irrational numbers.
Yes. Adi?
Yes, ma'am. Once again.
Yes.
Ma'am, first one is 22 by 7.
Okay, so 22 by 7. You are saying 22 by 7 is an example of irrational number.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Not so sure, ma'am.
Not so sure. Okay, actually the answer is
Ma'am,
wrong.
can I
Okay,
check?
I'll come back to you, Adi. Do you want to give one more example? Adi, 22 by 7 is a wrong answer. Do you want to give one more? Do you want to try again?
I'll try afterwards, ma'am.
You'll say afterwards. All right, no issues. So,
Ma'am,
so the same question. Yeah, who's this?
Anish.
Anish, I think you've answered, right, Anish? Yeah, Anish, go ahead. Right, give
Yes,
two
ma'am.
examples of irrational numbers.
Ma'am, 1.31313131, which repeats on. And
No. Come again, beta.
ma'am, 1.3131, which repeats.
So 1.313131 ... So the number is repeating.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, we 1.01 sorry, ma'am, 1.1001001000, and it
Yeah.
repeats like that.
Yes.
And we have 2.80128038103, which also repeats. It doesn't repeat.
Which
Goes
doesn't
on.
repeat. There is a pattern, but which doesn't repeat. Very good. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
correct. So, Anish, very good. Both the answers are correct. You explain it yourself why your first answer was wrong. Why is it
Ma'am.
not an irrational number?
Ma'am, because it was repeating, ma'am. An irrational number doesn't repeat.
Exactly. So in the previous slide, we discussed that irrational numbers are non-repeating, non-terminating numbers. Yeah. So it should not repeat.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
it repeats, then they are rational numbers. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Very good. But I want to be specific to who will answer this. Aditi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Aditi. So read the question and answer it.
Cube root of 64 is closest to
Yeah.
dash.
Yeah. So what's the answer? What do you think is the answer? Yes, Riddhi, correct answer.
I got 4.
Yes, 4 is the correct answer. You don't look very confident. Yes, Abhishek, you can leave and join. You can do that. Aditi, explain your answer. 4 is the correct answer.
Ma'am, you prime factorize and you get 2 to the power. You get 2 to the power something, and that is can be written as 4 to the power
2
3.
to the power 6.
Yeah, 2 to the power 6, which can be written as 4 to the power 3. So cube root of 64 is actually cube root of 4 into 4 into 4. 4 fours are 16, 16 fours are 64. Yeah. So that's why cube root of 64 is equal to 4. Yes, Dhruv, you can do that. Can you all hear me? I'm getting.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yeah, Dhruv, you can join back again. Okay, very good, Aditi. That is the correct answer. So cube root of 64 is 4. So now the next question. Just have some 3-4 questions and then we'll start with the exercise. All right, so this is the next question, and let's have Anirudh. Is Anirudh here? Anirudh? Anirudh S. Anirudh is not answering. Anjali? Anjali? Sajan? Anjali Sajan? Children, you don't have to get scared of the questions, okay? If you don't know, you can just come online and say that I'll try later.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who's this? Is it Anjali?
Anjali, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Anjali. Read the question, beta.
The square root of 288 is closest to?
288 is closest to. So what is the closest value? Is 288 a perfect square?
No.
No, very good. No. So Anjali, I'll just help you a little. Okay. So what is 15 square? Do you remember what's 15 square?
He wants that putting in one. He doesn't want the iPhone cable one.
Ma'am,
Lalit, please mute your call. Lalit. Yeah.
can we have an irrational number as the answer for this question?
No, it should be a natural number.
Ah,
Yeah, Anjali, 15 square is how much, beta? No?
No, ma'am.
All right, fine, no issues. Let me ask somebody else. Okay, so Ritvik, is Ritvik here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ritvik, can you answer this? The
Ma'am,
square root.
Yeah, it's closest to 17, ma'am.
Okay, and yes, very good. That is the correct answer. And why do you think it's 17 is the answer?
Ma'am, because when I calculated, the answer was like 16.97. So when I rounded it off, it's 17.
So you used a calculator and you found the root of 280.
Notebook only.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, okay, fine. That is the correct answer. So children, in grade 8, I think you had this chapter, squares and square roots. So at least up to the number 20, you should remember all the squares and square roots. That will help you in solving questions of this type. So like he said, 17 square, actually 17 square is 289. Okay, so the number given on screen is 288. So square root of 288 is closest to 17. So 17 is the answer. Or like he said, if you use a calculator or if you try doing yourself, you will see that root of 288 is 16 point something. So it's obviously closest to 17. Is that fine? Any doubts? All right. So the next question. So this is the next question, and I want somebody who's not answered. Parul, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Parul. Read the question and try answering.
Minus pi is closest on a number line to the number.
Mm-hmm. So see, to know what is minus pi, you should actually know what's pi, right? So what's the value of pi?
22/7.
Okay, in decimals?
3.14.
Perfect. So yeah, great. So pi is 3.14. So minus pi would be how much?
Minus 3.14.
Perfect. So minus 3.14 is closest to?
Minus 3.
Minus 3. Very good. So that is the answer. Minus 3 is the answer. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, next question. So this is the next question on the screen. Let's have Surya. Are you there? Surya? Tanya?
Everyone are giving answers. So it's being clear to all.
Okay, but I'm not getting a few answers from a couple of you. Surya, are you there, beta?
No, ma'am. Ask them to give the answers to you personally, privately.
Yes. I am getting a couple of answers, Sahil. Thank you. Tanya? No. Tarun?
What, ma'am?
Tarun?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Tarun. Read the question and answer it, beta.
1/3 is closest on a number line to dash.
Yes. So
It's
1/3.
0.
It is 0. What is the value of 1/3? What would be the decimal expansion of 1/3?
0.3.
Yeah, 0.3 something. So it is
0.3
closest
bar.
to 0.
0.3 bar.
Yes, 0.3
Yeah, 3
bar.
bar.
Perfect. Very good. Very good. That is the correct answer. Okay, next question. Okay, so this is the next one. And let's have Akshat.
Yes, ma'am.
Symbol for natural numbers, most of you have got the answer. That is N, okay? It's a capital N. That is the symbol for natural numbers. All right? I will move on to the next one. Very commonly asked questions. So, are integers whole numbers? We've discussed this also a couple of times in our online classes. Is Ritika here? Ritika?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ritika. Can you explain the answer?
All the integers are not whole numbers.
All integers whole numbers? True or false?
False.
False. Why?
Because integers even have negative numbers, whereas whole numbers don't.
Perfect. That is the answer. Integers have negative numbers also in them, and that's the reason why all integers are not whole numbers. This statement is false. Very good, Ritika.
Thank you.
Next, I think I have 2 or 3 more left. This is the next question. Are all real numbers integers? Are all real numbers integers? That's my next question. And let's have we will answer this. Sahia is there? Sahia? Sahia? Sahia, can't hear you.
Ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yes, great. Yeah. So Sahia, are real numbers integers? Are all real numbers integers? Is this statement true or false?
No, all of them are not.
Are not. So this statement is false. Very good. And what is the reason?
Ma'am, because real numbers even include integers.
No, I mean apart from integers.
Oh, because real numbers also include whole numbers too.
Okay, but okay, not exactly the correct answer. Are real numbers integers? Are all real numbers integers? You said the answer is not is no. Okay, so which is correct, right? So real numbers constitute something other than integers. So what are those?
They also contain rational.
Yes, you're coming to that.
Numbers.
Very good. Yes, they also
Rational
contain
and
rational
irrational.
numbers and irrational numbers. Perfect.
Numbers.
Yes. So because real numbers also constitute rational and irrational numbers, that is the reason why not all real numbers are integers. Yeah. Children, yes, very good. Thank you. Children, just a request, okay? Please do not text to everyone, okay? You are only going to text to me, right? Otherwise, then all the answers are seen on the screen and the purpose of this is not met, yeah? So if you are typing in your answer, just send it to me, not to everyone. All right, so the next question. So, yeah. So that is the question on the screen, and I would like to ask Ishika.
Yes.
Ishika, read the question first.
What number belongs to the set of rational numbers but does not belong to the set of whole numbers?
Whole numbers, yes. So what is your answer?
Ma'am, the integers and.
Very good. Yeah, integers. I think that's it.
Okay.
That says it all. Yeah. Do you want to explain your answer?
Yeah, the whole numbers don't include negative numbers and
Yes.
integers includes.
Exactly. Very good.
Even fractions.
Yeah, even fractions. All right. This is the next question, and let's have Neha. Neha, answer this question. Can you answer it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Neha. Read it first.
Which set of numbers does not contain 0?
Yes.
Natural numbers don't contain 0.
Natural numbers don't contain 0. Very good. Correct answer. So this is the next slide is something that we just discussed. Yeah. So I want Prati. Are you there, Prati?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Prati. So you have to explain imaginary numbers. We just did it in the beginning of the session, today's session. So what are imaginary numbers, beta?
Anything which its value is not, I don't know.
So anything that's not real. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything that's not real is imaginary number. So what you're studying in this chapter 1, the name of the chapter is real numbers. What are anything that's not real is imaginary numbers. So you just have to know that there is something beyond real numbers. Yeah. A lot of people say that, or all the numbers that you've learned so far, or all the numbers that are there in the universe would come under real numbers. That's not true. So you have a lot of numbers which are not real, and those fall under the category imaginary or complex numbers. Do you remember the examples that we discussed? Can you give one example? Yeah, very good. I is the, how are imaginary, see, just like natural numbers are denoted by capital N, so imaginary numbers are denoted by small I.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give an example? Okay, fine. No issues, Prati. Good job. Fine. Let's have
Ma'am, can I say?
Yeah, please go ahead. Who's this?
Ma'am, Riddhi.
Yes, Riddhi.
Ma'am, examples are root -2.
Root -2. Very good. Yeah, very good. So under the root, when you take a negative value, that's an example of imaginary or complex number. Very good, Riddhi. Thank you. And this should be the last question before we continue with the exercise. So terminating decimal, this is easy. So I guess all of you should know it. Let me ask Rishabh. Rishabh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Rishabh. So what are terminating decimal expansions?
You want an example or
Yeah, in your own words, you can define it. You can give an example, your wish.
like 5.76?
5.76.
76.
Very good. So 5.76 is an example of terminating decimal. And why is it so? How do you explain it?
That's because it's a decimal, but it's a terminating number.
Yeah, in decimals, it's a terminating number. And when you take it as a fraction, it is always going to give you a remainder 0. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So the numbers when you divide two numbers, if the remainder is 0, such numbers would give you a terminating decimal expansion. Okay. Very good, Rishabh. Rishabh, what are terminating decimal expansions? Are they rational numbers or they are irrational?
I'm not sure.
Okay, you're not sure. Fine. Rishi, you've put a question. I'll answer your question. You answer mine first. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
No,
yeah.
ma'am, I answered for that question.
Oh, okay, fine. So, Rishi, what are terminating decimal expansions? Are they rational numbers or they are irrational?
They are rational.
They are rational. Very good. Why?
I don't know properly, ma'am.
You can just say that they are rational because, okay, Aditya, yeah, you texted me. Aditya, why is a terminating decimal expansion a rational number? Just come back to the basic definition of a rational number. If terminating decimal expansion is a rational number, then it can be written in the form of Aditya?
Where A and B are co-prime and B is non-zero.
Not equal to 0. That's it. Yeah. Correct. All right. So that was a quick recap of whatever we've learned till now. I am quickly going to start with exercise 1.3. The first question that we've already discussed the other day, but some of you may not have understood. So we're going to start with this again. Yeah. So I'm going to quickly explain this entire thing once again. So if you have any doubts, you can ask in. Yeah, you can. So what was this exercise about? What is this exercise about? I told you that in math, there are a couple of proofs which can be proved using the method of contradiction. Okay. So this method of contradiction is a little kind of new to you because you haven't done this kind before. Generally, when we have to prove something, we take the help of theorems, or sometimes if it's geometry, we would love to do a cut and paste activity and prove the same. Yeah. What we are doing in this exercise is proving that root 5 is irrational using the method of contradiction. What are the other methods that you would be learning later in this year? There's something known as method of induction. Okay, so you would also be learning about method of induction later. But so yeah, the question that you see on screen is method of contradiction or method of assumption. So what we do here, we assume. If you look at the question, we've discussed this already the other day. I have to prove that root 5 is irrational. So what do? I assume that root 5 is a rational number. Yeah. So, and then down the lane, when you keep solving it, you will see that there is contradiction in your assumption. The assumption that you made that root 5 is a rational number is wrong. Okay. And when there is contradiction, so you come back to the expression saying that root 5 has to be irrational. Yeah. So that is called method of contradiction. And how did we go about it? There are only 4 steps there. The rest is all explanation. So you first take root 5 as a rational number. Because it's rational number, you can put it in the form of a by b or p by q, yeah, where a and b have to be co-prime and b should not be equal to 0. I'm again going to stress on this word co-prime, okay. If you remember last class, I told you that in 9th grade, when you defined irrational numbers or rational numbers, let's take rational numbers, you said any number in the form of p by q, where p and q are integers, yeah. So now you are redefining it in grade 10. You are going to say this a and b or p and q are co-prime and the denominator should not be equal to 0. The next step, what do? We square both sides, we cross multiply and we square both sides, which is giving us a square is equal to 5b square. Yeah, that gave us the statement, okay, which says if I'm writing a square as a multiple of 5 times b square means it's a multiple of 5. If I'm doing that, that means a square is divisible by 5. And if a square is divisible by 5, a should also be divisible by 5. Yeah. So this particular statement works for prime numbers. Now, if you see here, 5 is a prime number. So with prime numbers, the statement is completely true. Yeah. So the next step is obvious, right? Because you are saying a is divisible by 5. So a can be written as a multiple of 5. So that's the reason why they have written a is equal to 5k. So when you substitute that, you get 5k square is equal to b square. So there are two equations here. First one, you've got a square is equal to 5b square. Second one, you've got b square is equal to 5k square. So what does that reflect? It says that a and b have a common factor, which is 5. So a and b are not co-prime. When we're saying co-prime, they have only one as a common factor. But in both these equations, what did we get? We are getting 5 is also a common factor. So our assumption is wrong, and hence root 5 has to be irrational. So that is the approach. You should know these steps. You should know the working. You should know how to write the answer. It generally comes for 3 marks. Yeah. So that is the first question. And yeah, any doubts, children? Okay. Fine. So this was the first one. Let's proceed to question number 2. So you can see the answer as well on the screen because, yeah, so this part, just pay attention. So question number 2 is you have to prove that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. Yes, Sahil, yes, you can use the Tata Edge classroom. You can, yeah.
Ma'am.
So, yeah.
Ma'am, so like we can just show that root 2 root 5. We just take that that's rational.
Yes.
And then we prove that like it's rational, but then we can just say that it contradicts the fact that root 5 is irrational. So 2
yes.
5 is irrational. And then we can say that if you add a rational or irrational number, it will always be irrational.
It will always be irrational. Very good. Yes, I'm coming to that. That is the correct answer. So, so here you have to see in questions like this, if you're only given root 2 is irrational, root 3 is irrational, root 5 is irrational, in those kind of questions, what you will do is you have to prove it like the entire thing that I showed you, the method of contradiction. But in questions like this, because it just comes for 1 mark or 2 marks, you can just use the property that the sum of a rational and an irrational number is always irrational. Okay, like, yeah. So you can either show it in the way that's shown on the screen. You can take it in the form of a by b. You can go for assumption. This is also fine. If you think this is complicated, you can just say that there are 2 terms in this. There's 3 and there's 2 root 5. Yeah, 3 is rational, 2 root 5 is irrational. Sum of rational and irrational always gives us irrational. We've done this in chapter 1 last year, number systems. Yeah, so you can just put one single statement saying that sum of a rational and an irrational number is always irrational. Is it clear, children?
Ma'am, but I have one doubt, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Yeah. One by one, please. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I have a doubt, so I wanted to ask.
Ma'am, so you can just write one or two statements, but then what if it comes for like more marks? Then we should use
It
this
won't.
method. Right?
It won't come. It won't come. Yeah, they've never
Oh.
asked. Actually, this is recap of grade 9. So these kind of questions are generally not asked. It's not important from exam point of view, but of course you should know the concept, right? So yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Somebody else had a doubt. Yeah.
Ma'am, so if the
Ashvi.
question is given like this, so we have to prove that root 5 or root 2 root 5 is irrational, then we should tell that statement, or we can directly say.
No, you can directly say. That is what I'm saying. Because it comes for 1 or 2 marks, you can directly go ahead saying that root 5 is irrational. So you can start your answer saying, since root 5 is irrational, 2 root 5 is also irrational.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
And if you follow the steps that are shown on the screen, on the LHS, look at the last step. On the LHS, you have root 5, which is irrational. Yeah. On the RHS, the right hand side, you have 1 by 2 into a by b minus 3, and all the terms there are rational. So irrational equal to rational. That is not possible, right? That's not an equation. So that's why their assumption is wrong.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, so supposing we have like a 3 or 4 mark question, it's like say 8 or 9 steps. So we write only 5 steps, and they are all like theoretically and ethically correct. So they have to give us full marks, right?
Of course, they will give you full marks.
Like it doesn't depend on the steps, right?
No,
Only
it doesn't.
if the
It
thing-
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Anything else, children? Any other doubt? Okay. Okay. So now you are going to try out question number 3 on your own. So this is the third question, first bit. Okay. It says prove that the following are irrationals. First question is 1 by root 2. Try doing it. I'll ask one of you. Yes, Surya, you can do that. You can put 1 by root 2 is equal to a by b, and you can cross multiply.
You
That
can
is
do
the
it b
correct.
by a. No?
Yeah, b by a by b, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm repeating the question. You have to prove that 1 by root 2 is irrational. You can have various answers for this. Okay. So anyone, would you like to answer? Okay, Ashwin. Fine. Anyone, how will you prove that 1 by root 2 is irrational?
Shall I do it?
Yes. Is it, who's this?
Ashwin.
Yes, Ashwin.
So then you can, if you take 1 by root 2 and then you say that it's equal to, you assume that it's rational.
Okay,
then
so
you
Ashwin, can you share your answer with us?
No, I'm using a laptop.
Okay, fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so then you can say that it's equal to a by b.
Mm-hmm.
Then
So,
you take reciprocate it and you get root 2 is equal to b by a.
Yeah, so I'm just going to write what Ashwin's saying. He says, I have 1 by root 2. I will assume 1 by root 2 to be a rational number. If it's a rational number, then it can be expressed in the form of a by b, where a and b are co-prime and b is not equal to 0. Is the first step clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to repeat this again. Please pay attention. You have to prove that 1 by root 2 is irrational. Yeah. And Ashwin is using the method of contradiction. So he assumes that 1 by root 2 is a rational number. Now, if 1 by root 2 is a rational number, then we should be able to write it in the form of a by b. Yeah, where a and b are co-prime and b is not equal to 0. Yes, Ashwin, go ahead.
So then you reciprocate it and then it will be root 2 is equal to b by a.
Yeah, so now we cross multiply. So this becomes root 2 into a is equal to b. Yeah.
So
Yes,
then
Ashwin.
root 2 is b by a.
Yeah, so next step will be root 2 is equal to b by a. Yeah.
So on the RHS you have a rational number,
Very
but on
good.
the LHS you have an irrational number.
Yes.
So this is a contradiction. So our earlier assumption was wrong.
Perfect. So
then
therefore,
1 by root 2 is irrational.
Perfect. That is the answer. Is everyone
That's like
clear?
the short method.
That is the shortest method. Yes.
The long one is you have to square both sides and then
Yeah.
prove both ways. That's too much.
Yes, I think this is
easy.
the
This is the
easy.
best
This is the
method.
best method. Agree. Yes. So I hope it's clear to everyone. Any doubts,
Yes,
children?
ma'am.
Do you want me to repeat the answer again? All right. So let's move on to the next question. So you have to this time prove that 7 root 5. 7 root 5. 7 times root 5 is an irrational number.
Can I say the answer?
Yes. Can you share your answer with us? Is it possible?
Ma'am, I can't share it.
Okay, no
but I can
issues, no
say
issues.
it.
Yeah, say it.
So, ma'am, we assume that 7 root 5 is a rational number. So we have to find the co-prime of A and B such that B is not equal to 0.
So do you want me to write it in the similar fashion that we did in the previous question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's do that. So 7 root 5, let's assume 7 root 5 is a rational number. So it can be written in the form of A by B, where A and B are co-prime and B is not equal to 0.
Yeah. Such that root 5 is equal to A by 7B.
Very good. So the next step will be root 5 is equal to A by 7B. Very good.
AB are integers, and
yes,
and that is like root 5 is also a rational number.
Very good.
But before we have seen that root 5 is irrational.
Yes.
So it's not possible.
Yes, very good. That's it. So again, this is the simplest answer, children, and she's explained it in a very nice way. So assume, this is how you're going to write. You will assume 7 root 5 to be a rational number. So it can be expressed in the form of A by B, right? Now cross multiply in such a way that you keep all the rationals on one side and irrationals on one side. So you can see that root 5 is irrational, which is our LHS. A by 7B is rational. Yeah. So irrational cannot be equal to rational. So our assumption is wrong. Hence 7 root 5 should be an irrational number. So these are the 2 steps, but then there should be a lot of writing part to your answer. You can check solved examples in your book and you will understand how to write the answer. Is it clear to everyone? I don't see any doubts coming in. So let's move on to the third question. Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a small doubt in the previous question, ma'am. 1 by root 2.
Yes.
So according to the definition of rational numbers, P by Q, where Q is not equal to 0, right? The previous definition.
Yes.
Ma'am, so but when you reciprocate it, 1 by root 2 will be root 2 is equal to B by A. But what if A is 0?
Exactly, ma'am.
So see, if A is equal to 0, then everything goes. See, that is the reason why when we are using this concept of method of contradiction, the entire thing holds true for A and B to be co-prime.
Ma'am, but if A is 0, then root 2 can't be equal to 0.
Okay.
1 by root 2 can't be equal to 0.
Okay. See, okay, I see a lot of. Okay, anyone, can you answer this question? I hope all of you have understood this. Whoever has put the question, good job, very good. So the question is, we are saying A by B. If I take A is equal to 0, right? Why doesn't it hold? Why are we not getting the answer? What do you think?
If A is 0, we reciprocate it, we get a non-defined number. B by A, if you divide anything like by 0, it will be non-defined.
No, but then here A is 0, numerator is 0.
That's what when we reciprocate it.
So we are not reciprocating. Let's assume we are
Without
not
without reciprocating, 1 by root 2 is equal to 0.
Yeah.
Then that's a contradiction already.
Okay, very good, very good. That is the first answer. Very good, children. So somebody said a is equal to 0. So when you put a is equal to 0, you get root 2 is equal to 0 by 1. 0 by 1 is 0. So I'm just going to write this and show. So on LHS, you will have root 2. On RHS, you will have 0 by 1. Now 0 by 1 is actually equal to 0. Yeah. So on LHS, you have root 2. On RHS, you have 0. So there is a contradiction here. LHS is irrational. RHS is rational. So that is the reason why our method, our assumption was wrong. Are you clear, children?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Any other doubt? Okay. So the last question, this is question number 3, third bit. Again, the same type. It says, prove that 6 plus root 2 is irrational. Please try. Prove that 6 plus root 2 is irrational. Any answers? Yes, Surya, Kashvi, that is the correct answer. Very good. Ashwin, correct answer. Yes, Niharika, I think I'll go with that answer because that's the simplest answer. Niharika, can you explain yourself?
Ma'am, so 6 is a rational number and
Yes.
root 2 is irrational because 1.414 and then it keeps going.
Yep.
So when we add 6 and 1.414, it gives us an irrational number.
Yes. So that is it. Okay. So, so most of you have proved using that A by B method, which is also correct, like we did in all our previous questions. Or you could just take up what just Niharika said. Yeah. So 6 is a rational number. Root 2 is an irrational number. The sum of a rational and an irrational number always gives us a rational number. That's a property that we studied last year in grade 9 number systems. So you can just say in one line the answer ends. Sum of a rational and an irrational number is always irrational. That's the reason why 6 plus root 2 is irrational. Okay, so very good, Niharika. Anything else before we start the next exercise? Any
Ma'am,
doubts,
this only
children?
this only applies if it's like when it's not written that we can't assume that root 2 is irrational. Like supposing in the question they write it is not given that root 2 is irrational.
Okay, yeah. So you're just
So
making
then,
it complex. Yeah, then of course you have to prove that root 2 is irrational first.
Like in a board exam, they won't do that, but I
They
just
won't do
saw
that.
some question somewhere.
Yeah. Yes, that's okay. Yeah. Anything else, children? Any other doubt?
No, ma'am.
All right. So I hope you've written down the answers. I hope you are maintaining a notebook, children, to do all the questions. Okay, so we started with surface areas, volumes, then we did probability. Now we are doing real numbers. After this, we'll be doing polynomials. It will be a big backlog if you are not practicing enough, right? So I've told you all, if you have a book that's very nice, RS, RD, NCRT, any book that you have, right? And if you don't have, you should download stuff from the internet and also do the worksheets, right? Keep doing it, keep practicing. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult when school reopens. You will not be able to take up the pressure. So don't procrastinate and keep doing math on a daily basis. I will start with the next exercise 1.4. Just read the question first. I'll give you some time to read the question and then I'll explain the answer.
And this is from last year.
No, this is.
Is there an
You have to check the
textbook?
denominator. If the denominator is it has factors only 2 and 5. It's
2 to the power of n
otherwise,
into 5 to the power of n.
Yes, Gaurav, you can rejoin. So I'll give you 2 minutes, children. Just go through the question, see what is being asked, and we'll discuss it. It's a
You
very
just
easy
need,
concept.
you just need to see if the denominator is a factor of 2 and 5.
It's possible if only it's a factor of 1, because we can take 2 to the power of 0 as 1.
All right, so I have a couple of answers coming in. So, so let me first explain what the question demands, okay? So there are 10 bits in the first question of exercise 1.4, and all of you will agree that all the 10 questions that are given to us are in the form of P by Q, all right? Each of them, from question number 1 to question number 10, you can see all of them are in the form of P by Q, yeah? Now, because each of them is in the form of P by Q or A by B, the first thing that you should know is all these numbers are rational numbers, okay? So that is the first concept that should be there in your mind, that every question that's been given in this in the first main is a rational number, because each of them can be expressed in the form of P by Q. Okay, that's the first part. Now, if these are rational numbers, now you know that a particular rational number can be of two types. It can either be a terminating decimal expansion, or if it doesn't terminate, then it should repeat. I'm going to repeat this again. Since all of these are rational numbers, now you should be able to classify each one of them into one of the cases. The first case, it should either be a terminating decimal expansion. If it's not terminating, that means if it doesn't end, then it should repeat. Yeah, so you can, if you read the question now, it will make sense to you without actually performing the long division. So what are they trying to tell you? They are telling you, do not divide, don't use your calculators, or don't do the long division method. Without doing that, just by looking at the numbers, can you state if the following rational numbers have a terminating decimal expansion or a non-terminating repeating decimal expansion? So that is the question. I hope the question is clear to everyone. Are you clear with the question,
Yes,
children?
ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. All the examples that you see on screen, they are all rational numbers. What is your job? You have to classify them into terminating or non-terminating repeating. Yeah, so I did have a lot of answers coming in. So would somebody like to explain what we do in such questions? Yes, Nandini. Nandini, go ahead. Your answer is correct.
Ma'am?
You whatever you've typed in is the correct answer. So do you want to explain?
So 13 and 3125 are co-prime numbers. So when we take the denominator 3125 and take its LCM, it comes as 5 into 5 into 5 into 5 into 5. So that's 5 times 5.
Yes.
So equal to 1 into 5 times 5. So we have to write.
Nandini, is it possible to share your answer with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please do it.
Okay.
Nandini?
Yes, ma'am. It's
okay. The others can keep trying the remaining questions. Yes, very good. So now can you explain it once again, beta?
Ma'am, so we're supposed to write, P by Q is terminating if P and Q are co-prime and Q is in the form of 2n into 5m.
Very good. Yes.
So n and m are supposed to be non-negative integers.
Yes.
So 13 and 3.125 co-prime, and we have to expand the denominator.
Yes, we have to factorize it. Yeah.
Is it okay if it is done in the textbook?
So no, not you have to do these steps. Okay, it's mandatory. Again, 1 or 2 marks for the question. So yeah, first of all, yes, very good, beta. The answer is correct, and you've written it in a perfect way. So let me just explain it once again, children. So we'll start with the last line that she's written. Okay. So how do we decide whether the yes, Ahan, I'm explaining. So how do we decide whether the given number, whether the given rational number is terminating or not? Okay. So the rule is, again, we have done this in grade 9, but it wasn't in the NCERT book. Those of you who've done RSA thoroughly would remember this. So if you have a rational number in the form of A by B, where A and B are prime numbers, are co-prime numbers, then you take the denominator. Okay. Now, if the denominator is in the form of 2 to the power n multiplied by 5 to the power m, which is written it in the second last statement. Okay. So if the denominator can be expressed in the form of 2 to the power n into 5 to the power m. Okay. Now, why only 2 and 5? That means for a particular number to be a terminating decimal expansion, its denominator should have only 2 and 5 as its factors, nothing else. So you can see that 3125 can be written as 5 to the power 5. 5 to the power 5 can also be written as 2 to the power 0 into 5 to the power 5. So n and m are integers basically. So because I'm able to express the denominator 3125 in the form of 2 to the power n into 5 to the power m, therefore 13 by 3125 has to be a terminating decimal expansion. So this is the rule. Basically, this is the rule that you should remember. If you're given P by Q, first thing you're going to do is you're going to simplify them if possible. So if you look here, 13 by 3125 cannot be simplified. It can't be simplified further. They are already co-prime. So once you check that, what do? Take the denominator, prime factorize it, find all the factors. So the denominator should have only factors of 2 and 5, nothing else. So if I have something else, that means that particular decimal expansion will be a non-terminating repeating decimal expansion. Ahan, are you clear? Any doubts, children?
No, ma'am.
All right. So let's go back to the second question now.
Ma'am, I've given the answer to your
I've
private
checked.
chat.
Yes, I've seen that. Very good. Answer is correct. So the second question, 17 by 8. So let me ask somebody. Ayush, are you there? Ayush? Rakshit? Rakshit, are you there? Abhishek?
Yes,
Abhishek?
yes.
Yes, yes, Abhishek. Abhishek, the second question, 17 by 8. What do you think? Is it a terminating decimal expansion or is it non-terminating repeating decimal expansion?
Yeah.
Abhishek, can you hear me? I think there's some problem with Abhishek's mic. Somebody else, Amisha?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Amisha.
Yes,
17 by 8. Are 17 and 8 are 17 and 8 co-prime?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Can we simplify them?
No.
No. Very good. Now what do you do?
Yeah.
We take the denominator. What is the denominator?
Yeah, the denominator 2 cube.
Very good. 8 which
It's
can be written as 2 cube. Yeah.
2 power, yeah. 2, whereas n is 3 and m is 0.
Very good. So what kind of decimal expansion is it?
Terminating.
Terminating decimal expansion. Very good.
Yes.
Okay. Rakshit, when you send a message to everyone, even I can see it. So you have to avoid doing that, please. All your text should be only to me, not to all. Rakshit, when I ask you a question, you are not answering and you are doing all this. Please speak up, Rakshit. Can you explain the third answer? Amisha, very good. Thank you for the second answer. Rakshit, speak up.
Yes.
All right. So now he's gone again. Anyway, so that was the second question. I hope that's clear to everyone. 8, if you can do it orally actually, 8 can be written as 2 cube. So because you have, that is nothing but 2 to the power 3 multiplied by 5 to the power 0, right? So therefore, it is a terminating decimal expansion. Number 3, 64 by 455. Who would like to answer?
Ma'am, can I answer?
Yes.
Niharika.
Yes, Niharika.
So 455 is written.
Niharika, can you share your answer?
No, ma'am, I can't.
Okay.
I'm not able
Fine.
to.
Fine. Yeah.
Can I continue?
Yeah, you continue. I'll give you the answer on screen and then maybe you can explain it.
Yes.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah. The third one. Yeah.
The denominator 455 is written as 5 into 7 into 13.
Yes.
Sorry, ma'am. Yeah, so the denominator is written as 5 into 7 into 13, and it can't be written in the form 2m into 5n. So because it also contains 7 and 13.
Very good.
Therefore, the 64 by 455 won't be non-terminating. Sorry,
it will be a it will be a non-terminating repeating decimal expansion. Very good, Niharika. Geet, are you there? Geet? Monavi?
Ma'am, Deepti ma'am.
Yes, Gaurav.
Rakshit is telling his mic is now working.
His mic is never working, but he can text all nonsense in the group. Okay, is Geet there? His mic is also not working. Rakshit, you text in, you can hear me, right? You text in your answers. Okay, Ritika, Ritika, you've raised your hand. Can you hear me, Ritika? Okay, by mistake. Fine. So I'm going to ask Akshay.
Ma'am.
Yes, Akshay. Akshay, are you understanding everything that we are doing in today's class?
Almost, ma'am.
Almost.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you repeat what Niharika said? The third bit, why is 64 by 455 not a non-terminating repeating? Yeah, it is a non-terminating repeating decimal expansion. Why is it so?
Because 455 also has factors as 7 and 13.
Very good.
So they
So
are.
that's why it is non-terminating repeating.
Yes, ma'am.
Akshay, continue with the fourth bit. There's a little hint given on screen. So read the fourth one. And what do you think about the fourth one?
Ma'am, the fourth one, 16,000. That. Oh,
1600. Yeah, 15 by 1600. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. So 1600 can be written as 2 to the power 6 into 5 to the.
Do you want to first not look at the hint and try on your own? Like, do you think that is the correct approach that's shown on the screen?
Now we can simplify first.
Yeah, you can make it.
Yes. Let Akshay answer.
Ma'am, I'll just do it.
Yeah. Anyone else? Meanwhile, if you've got the answer for the fourth one.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Who's this?
Amisha.
Yes, Amisha. Go ahead.
So 15 can be written as 5 into 3, and when we 1600 can be written as 2 power 6 and 5 square.
Yes.
So
Amisha, can you share your answer with us?
Yes, ma'am. One
yeah,
second.
do it. Yeah. So the rest of you keep. Yeah.
And the 6th bit, it's already given as 2 cube 5 square in the.
Yeah, so we don't have to do anything in the 6th bit. You can just directly write the answer.
Okay.
Pratyush, yes, you've raised your hand.
Done with this one and the second main.
Okay, great. That's it. Second main, third main, everything done.
Yeah.
I wrote all this in the notebook.
In the notebook, yeah, that's fine. So we are waiting for Amisha to help us with the fourth bit. Meanwhile, yes, Amisha. Yeah, good. Explain, beta.
15 can be written as 5 into 3, and 1600 can be written as 2 power 6 into 5 square. So when we cancel, we get 3 by 2 power 6 into 5, which is the denominator is in the form of 2 power n into 5 power m, where n is 6 and m is 1.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that's why?
So it's a terminating decimal expansion.
Very good.
We can simplify it also, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Indeed, you should always do that, okay? I think there are a few questions. I don't remember which one. Maybe we are going to come to that. There'll be, yeah. So there
like
are
6 by
questions
15.
Yeah, 6 by 15, correct. So when you simplify it, then you know the answer changes. So that is our first case. Please remember that our definition of rational numbers is now redefined. You need to make sure that A and B are co-prime. A and B are in their simplest form. Yeah. So to avoid making mistakes.
I did 3 by 320 and it was the same answer.
Yeah. So in some of them, like the one that's seen on the boards on the screen, some of them you will get the same answer, but some of them there would be a different answer if you do not take it as A by B to be co-prime. Yeah. So please remember that any fraction that you take should be simplified first, and then you check the denominator for 2 to the power n into 5 to the power m. So very good, Amisha. Yes, Riddhi.
Can I say the fifth one?
Yes, please do.
Ma'am, but I can't share the screen.
All right, I'll give you the answer then. Maybe you can explain.
Ma'am, I've done it in my notebook. So
yeah, so can you share? Yeah, can you share it?
No, ma'am, I can't share it, ma'am.
Oh, you'll just show it. Yeah, fine, you can do that.
I'll just tell it, ma'am.
So telling it will not. I'll just show you the answer. You can explain. 1 second. Yeah. Go ahead, Riddhi.
So ma'am, we factorize 343. So
Yep.
it will be 7 into 7 to 7, that is 7 cube,
Yep.
Which is not in the form of n square into 5, which is not in the form of n square and 5m.
Yes.
So it's a non-terminating repeating.
Very good. Very good. Correct. That is the answer. That's it. So I guess we've done 5 questions. I hope all of you have understood the logic. So I'm just showing the other answers also on the screen for you to cross check. Yeah. Just remember that every fraction that you take, every rational number you take, should be simplified first. That's your first major thing to do. On the screen, just look at question number 8. Okay, question number 8. 6 by 15, right? So 6 by 15. If you do not simplify 6 by 15, you will get a different answer. If you simplify it, you will get the correct answer. So question number 8 is very important. Please remember, I'm again stressing on this, please remember to always simplify the given fraction. Make sure that A and B are co-prime. Only then you will check the denominator. Yeah. So your first step is to simplify the fraction, put A and B in the simplest form, make A and B co-prime, and then work on the denominator. So I think I'll give you maybe 2-3 minutes more before we proceed to the next two. Actually, you can do the next 2 questions on your own. It's a recap of grade 9, very, very simple questions. Anyone, any doubts you can ask? The 6th and the 7th are obvious. You don't have to do anything. You just look at the denominator. It's already written in the form of 2 to the power n into 5 to the power m. So number 6 is terminating. Number 7 is not. Let me ask somebody. Dave is here. Dave? Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a doubt, ma'am. It's like at the end of the chapter, there's a note to the reader.
Okay.
It's like LCM of 3 numbers and HPF of 3 numbers relation.
Yes.
Like, is that?
It's not. It's not for exam. Yeah, it's not there.
Not for exam point of view.
So you have a doubt in
not
that?
For example.
Okay.
No, like, is it for exam point of view or is it like just good to know?
No, it's just good to know.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have questions actually calculating HCF and LCM of 3 numbers, the property that's given in the note. Yeah, you don't have such type of questions given in either RS, RD, nowhere. So yeah, it's just something to look beyond to. Okay, so after this, what next?
But it's a good one.
Yes, it is. It is. You can try with some examples and you can see whether it works for all or not. Yeah.
For 3 numbers, you can find HCF of 2 and then take that HCF with the last number and find the HCF.
Yes. We've done this in our lower classes. Very good. You take HCF of 2 numbers and then whatever the answer comes, you divide that with the third number and you'll see that remainder is 0 and that gives you the HCF.
So we can prime factorize all 3 together.
Yes, we can do that. Yes.
Like we can just take whichever is dividing all 3, that's the HCF.
Yes. The highest. That would be actually the coming back to the basic definition. Highest common factors. You're only taking that particular factor which is there in all 3 of them. Children, any doubts in the first question? I hope the entire class is clear with the first main. This is the property that you need to remember, that any denominator which can be written in the form of 2 to the power m into 5 to the power n will always give us a terminating decimal expansion. I was asking a question to someone. Yeah, Dave. Dave, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So Dave, can you explain the 9th one on the screen?
Ma'am, the 9th one is 35 by 50. When we simplify it, it becomes 7 into 5 by 5 square into 2.
Yes.
The numerator and denominator 5s get cancelled. So we get 7 by 5 into 2.
Yes.
So we already have 2 and 5 in the denominator, which can be written in the form of 2 to our m and to 5 to our n. So it is a terminating decimal expansion.
Expansion. Very good, Dave. Correct answer. Anjali, can you repeat your doubt, beta?
Ma'am, so like in the answer is 5 to the power n
Okay.
in one of the answer. So
Okay.
that becomes terminating.
Yes, because it is actually 5 to the power m into 2 to the power 0.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, you need to remember that the denominator should have both 2 and 5 as the factor, or only 2 as the factor, or only 5 as the factor. But it should not have anything other than 2 and 5.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So that was the first question, and we will move on to the second question now, which second and third, actually, you can do it on your own. I'm just showing one question on the screen for you all. So question number 2 is actually related to the first question. It says, write down the decimal expansions of those rational numbers in question number 1, which have a terminating decimal expansion. Now, this is your practice. What they're telling you to do is just do the normal division, normal long division. Okay. So divide 13 by 3125 and give the answer in decimals. So it's a very simple one. I think the entire class should be able to do this. Yeah. So you have to put a tick on all the questions which have a terminating decimal expansion. That means all of them who have the denominator 2 to the power n into 5 to the power m. So that has to be expressed like this, long division method. Yeah. So I've shown one on the screen. So you can go back and you can try out the remaining questions yourself. So this is again for your practice. Question number 2 will be a practice question. Pick the questions which have terminating decimal expansions, do the long division, and write the answer in decimals. So children, in questions like this, what I generally see is people just write direct answers. Okay, you should avoid doing that. You should show the long division, in your notebooks.
Ma'am, what if they ask without the long division method thing? Then.
Okay, so there is who's this?
Surya here.
Surya, yeah. So Surya, there is another method actually. I don't have the slides right now. Maybe in one of the doubt clearing sessions, I can show you that method. Okay. It is explained in R.D. Sharma. So there is another method where you without the long division, you can still get the decimal expansion. So we will keep this question. It can come in the exam. What did you say?
Will those questions appear on the board exam or something?
It might. Actually, it is considered a little higher level where they may tell you not to divide and still get the answer. So I think we can keep this question. Just remember, remind me later. If not in online class, I think in the regular classes we can get back to this. There is a format where I'll just tell you a little bit. Maybe you can Google also. So what we do in those questions is the denominator has to be made a multiple of 10. Like all of us, so that is the logic behind it. See, all of us know that if I divide, suppose 5 by 10, the answer is 0.5. If I divide 5 by 100, it is 0.05. Yeah. So when you are given 13 by 3125, so my goal should be to make the denominator a multiple of 10.
Okay.
So that is the logic behind it. So there is a particular rule where you do something and make the denominator a multiple of 10, and then we get the answer. So basically, like on the screen,
in those cases, they ask only for the number of digits after the decimal.
Yes, that is the one marker. It comes for MCQ. That's one marker where they tell you how many. Yes, good question actually. They'll ask you after how many places will the decimal expansion terminate. So you use that for those kind of questions as well as to calculate the decimal expansion.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am.
Yes, please go ahead.
Ma'am, for those kind of questions, like supposing that's 2 to the power of n into 5 to the power of m, the highest power is the number of decimals.
Yes, it is.
Like,
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the relation.
That is the relation. Yes.
For 1 mark, we can just do that, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm showing you on screen is the last question, the third question of this exercise. This particular question can be actually done directly in the textbook itself. So you've been given following real numbers, and their decimal expansions are given to you, and you have to, in each case, you have to check whether they are rational or not. If they are rational, what can you say about the prime factors of Q? Now that last part, we just did it. The prime factors of Q would be in the form of 2 to the power n into 5 to the power m. So let's, I think I'll just leave it to you. Anyone who knows the answer can just come in and say, what do you think is the first one? What type of decimal expansion is it?
It's terminating.
Terminating.
Terminating. Very good. So 43.123456789. After that, you can see that we don't have dots. Okay. So that means that it is a terminating decimal expansion. And if it is a terminating decimal expansion, it has to be a rational number. Yes.
So
Rakshit,
denominator will be in the form
very
of
good, Rakshit. Good. I'm happy that you are answering. You are giving
The
that
denominator is 2 to the power of 9 into 5 to the power of 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there'll be 9 zeros.
Yeah.
Actually, if you look at it, the third and the first one have the same, pretty kind of similar denominator.
The
third one does not have 2 and 5.
So third
No, it
one
doesn't
is
have.
third one has
Not similar
has a bar.
denominator.
Yeah, third one has a bar on it, so it is an example of
Non-terminating.
non-terminating. Yes,
Non-terminating.
non-terminating repeating
Repeating.
decimal expansion. Yes. What is the second one? What do you think about the second one?
Non-terminating,
Non-terminating,
non-repeating.
non-repeating, or
It
irrational.
is a non-terminating,
Irrational
non-repeating.
number.
It is irrational. Very
Irrational
good.
number.
Yes, children. Yeah. So I think that is it. This brings us to the end of the chapter, real numbers. Yeah. Keep preparing for the MCQ test, which will be around 15th of May. Surface areas, volumes, and probability. Before the test, I will try taking a few, maybe 1 or 2 revision classes where I'll bring in a few higher order questions to the class. Our next class, we're going to start with chapter 2, which is polynomials. Yeah. And I'm again telling you, real numbers, first exercise, I have only touched upon the Euclid's division algorithm. There is still one more part left to it. I would be doing that in our normal classes. Yeah. So I think that's it. If you have any doubts, you can stay. The rest of you can leave. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, please go ahead.
So in the, I don't remember which exercise, but they asked us that numbers can be represented as 9q plus any remainder that is 0 to 8.
Rakshit, that's fine. It's okay. You
Ma'am,
were
it's
attentive. You were
Ashwin.
answering. No, I'm just replying to Rakshit.
Oh.
You can leave, Rakshit. Thank you. Yes, Ashwin, go ahead.
So then
9q.
we have to cube that and find the remainders, like all the possible remainders. So I did not write the coefficients of the squares and cubes because it will take too much time. So I just wrote the constant terms, which has the remainders.
Ashwin, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, so there was a question saying that all numbers can be represented as 9q or 9q plus 1 to 8.
Yes.
So
I remember
then,
that question.
Yeah, we have to cube that.
Yes.
So then only the constant term becomes the remainder.
Yes.
So only that much is enough to, we don't,
Yes,
I mean, I don't have to expand the full thing and write it.
No, you don't have to.
Write the constant term.
Exactly. See, because here, test of divisibility works in, because you are taking 9 there. So you don't have to take the remainder from r is equal to 0 to 9. You can just go up to r equal to 0, r equal to 1, r equal to 2. Like you said, after that, it just starts repeating itself. So it's enough to show the first 3 cases.
No. What I asked is that you'll get squares and cubes also. 9 cube, 9 square, something like that. I didn't write those coefficients, so that's okay, right?
Okay, Ashwin, do one thing. Show me the answer in the next class.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not really getting it. Maybe if you
Yeah,
show the answer,
okay.
I can. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.